Welcome to Shantamarga 100 Days Answer Writing Program under the guidance of Shantappa sir. Today we are back with another question that have been taken from history optional paper with the theme of political disintegration, socio-economic decline in 18th century that actually appeared in 2016 CSE UPSC means. So UPSC has, as I told, UPSC has created the boundary and he is asking the question from those boundaries itself. So let's understand how to answer this question and what is the major theme involved in this question. The major theme involved in this question is political disintegration, socio-economic decline and 18th century. Well, 18th century is a main theme. Under 18th century, we expect these kinds of question. Also, lastly, we discussed about the socio-religious movements. Next, we will discuss the tribal revolts involved, and there are many questions that actually have been picked under this. Okay, the question is the political disintegration was responsible for socio-economic decline in India during 18th century. Comment. It is for 10 marks and 150 words. So let's understand how to answer this question. First, we have to identify the keywords that has been involved in the question. That is political disintegration, 18th century and socio-economic decline. He is not asking about the political reasons or anything. It's about a socio-economic decline. So when you start to answer, as I told before, you have to know the answer should consist of introduction, body and the conclusion. Introduction, body, and later we need to focus on conclusion. So introduction, as I told, introduction should consist of the summary of the whole body or the conclusion that will be written in an answer. Introduction should vaguely, you have to put in some words that actually vaguely there in your body and the conclusion. That is the death of Aurangzeb. How political disintegration happened. Political disintegration in India mainly happened due to the death of Aurangzeb. He was one of the most powerful ruler of Mughal Empire. His death led to the emergency of regional powers that marked the instability in India or in Indian power system that weakened the central authority. So next, the body should give the reasons of political disintegration and socio-economic decline. First, the decline of Mughal Empire. After the death of Aurangzeb led to weak central authority and rise of autonomous state. After the death of Aurangzeb, there was an inefficient successor. As I told, he was succeeded by his third son, Azam Shah, who was briefly there till 1707 June. The death happened in 1707 and he was there only till June 1707. After he was killed, and his older half brother Shah Alam I, we also called him as a Bahadur Shah I, became a Mughal emperor. That too from 1707 to 1712. Obviously, they didn't rule even not more than 6 to 7 years. So this led to the strong central authority and rise of autonomous states. Regional powers. Next, the rise of regional power. With the collapse of centralized power led to the regional powers like Awadh. The creation of Awadh was established. Awadh was established by Saad Khan in 1722, and also Murshid Quli Khan established Bengal. Hyderabad, often engaged in the conflict and disrupting the stability and warfare. With the rise of Marathas, this increased the instability in the region to that nobody actually filled the power vacuum left by the Mughals that was gradually overshadowed by the British colonial power. So the regional powers were only fighting for their power of their only region that actually didn't gain any strong centralized authority in India. Next, agrarian distrust. Increased warfare, as I told you, damaged agriculture and trade. For example, Maratha raids in northern India led to rural distress. How Maratha raids led? Because they started, taking the taxes. That is, they started putting Sardeshmukh chouts for the regions they have raided next. So they increased the rural distress. They, even at the time of famine and everything, even they started collecting the taxes. So this led to the rural distress. Next, decline of urban center. Disruption of trade routes affected, there's a chain link. When there's a agrarian distress happening, this next, the urban centers, there was a decline of urban centers because um disruption of trade routes. There was no central authority that could actually protect the trade routes from the theft or give the protection, royal protection. And with the involvement of Britishers, Madras, Kochi, South India became a new urban center as we study next. So this led to the decline of Surat, Agra, and yeah, even Bengal became one of the uh, you know the newly developed urban centers under the British. British didn't actually give a patronage to the oldly existing cities, urban cities. And next, decline of trade and industry. Decline of, as the trade routes became unsafe, and the royal patronage was not there for the protection, and this regional powers were started fighting among themselves, or they started expanding. This led to discouraging of commerce. Heavy taxations was there, and regional power, as I told, exploitation of regional power affected the peasants, artisans, reducing the economic output. And also the with the advent of Britishers, they flushed India with the cheaply made their goods and raw materials, and also giving the giving 100% or 200% of tariffs on Indian products, that actually made Indian goods becoming very costly. So when their cheaply made goods overshadowed Indian market, led to decline of trade and industries and rise of European powers. As I told you, the Battle of Plassey, Battle of Buxar, and Nadir Shah invention. This all led to the creation of vacuum, especially in Bengal, and also vacuum in the regional power or in the whole India. And this led to the fragmentation. This people started, that is Portuguese, Britishers, French, they started to divide their colonies in India, and this actually led to the disintegration, and as resulted in socio-economic decline, because when they take away the colonies under their control, they are responsible for the growth and development of their colonies. And uh, these people, the Britishers, or the colonial administration, was never interested in developing the India, but they were only interested in the ag- trade and the gain, the economic drain from India. So domination over the coastal trade diminished the indigenous market influence. They started pouring their goods in Indian system and in the Indian market, that affected badly. This led to deindustrialization, that the local artisans were ruined. Many of the what you call indigenous articrafts were ruined. So these are all the major reason for social, as I told, the reasons for socio-economic decline in 18th century. 18th century was more of a power struggle between the regional powers, the colonial administration, but never really interested in developing India as such, or giving at least some policy regulations, or uh, you know the finance or anything, or the patronage for the development. So 18th century marked the deindustrialization, I can tell you, deindustrialization in India, and ruining of local peasants and everything, that gradually resulted in 19th century, as today also we can see that India lacks skilled labor. you know we don't have that much skilled labor. Government is initiating more programs, as I told, PM Vishwakarma, or Skill India, for the development of skills in Indians. So yeah, and then lastly, we have to give the conclusion, as political fragmentation created a chain of instability, insecurity, and economic turndown. As I know, rarely it was in the peasants, or the farmer was earning more than what he could afford. And this decline to pivot colonial dominance, transforming India's economic societies in centuries that followed. Till today, India, faces the same problem. As I told, even though we have government, we have budget, we have central budget, state budget, and everything, India is not managing to have a skilled labor. India is struggling of to, uplifts is a trade, or India is struggling to give a protection to its market. And also, it is actually giving many policy programs with creation of SEZ, with the creation of Hunar Huts for protection of its urban markets, or a market as a whole. If I can tell you, this question is very important, because it actually, highlights what are the main reasons for India's current situation, or what has started the starting point of India's journey towards, self-reliance, or what could actually made India, for this 21st century, till a struggling power, with regard to skills, and with regard to upliftment of socio-economic programs, or socio-economic upliftment among Indians. So thank you. This is, if I can tell you, this is very important question, that every aspirant should know and should go through. Thank you